Why am I here? Why? What is the purpose of my life? Knowing the truth will liberate you. Free, not enslave you. Question becomes, what do you want in your life? Knowing or not? You find yourself powerless? Do you? It's not true. That's not true. You have a secret weapon. I shouldn't be saying this, but you have a secret weapon. And it is the most powerful weapon on the face of this earth. And that weapon is your choice. It's all yours. Nobody can touch it. Choose peace over chaos. Choose love over hate. Choose respect over disregard. Choose clarity over confusion.
Today we have Prem Rawat, Ambassador of Peace. And is that not the most wonderful country that you could be ambassador for?
Prem Rawat Foundation acknowledges that you need to have prosperity. It acknowledges that you need to have dignity. And it acknowledges that you need to have peace. And that one does not need to be disconnected from another. Everything that I'm stating is obvious. What is the obvious? That you are alive. This is obvious. The peace that you look for is inside of you. That is obvious. Everything else, in a moment's notice, can change. The only thing that doesn't change is your strength, your beauty, your joy. You, after all, are a human being.
Malam sira bem-vindo à discussão com a Dame Vamores nian. E a discussão dene ita se bahasur malum ho Sr. Prem Rawat, nia mak embaixador Dame nian, neve mak lautiona barai barak, podi promove no hatutan lia menon con a Dame nian ba ema hotu. Ohin loram ita se bahasur malum ho nia e discussão importante ida ba ita hotu de liba juventude e timolaran toma con a Dame. Dame Vamores. Maite bahamutuk e discussão idene. Mr. Prem Rawat, thank you very much for making the time here and welcome to the TV station.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's my pleasure.
You have just been speaking at an event called Peace for Life with the President and the First Lady of Timor-Leste, over 500 people. How was the event for you this morning?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm very grateful to the President and the First Lady for inviting me. And I am always very honored to be in the company of people who seek peace in their lives. So arriving today and having the pleasure to meet the President and the First Lady, and then to see all the people, and I got to talk to some of them, and their interest in peace was just beautiful, because this is an element that's really missing in our society. People are interested in making more money, people are interested in all the other things, but not in peace. And one of the things that I was saying is, without peace being at the core, the foundation, if all this stuff exists, it will fall apart. Because, and this is just not a conjecture, we can see this in many of the civilized societies, that since peace wasn't at the core, and don't, people shouldn't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that we should not talk about prosperity or money or this or that. Yes, of course we should all be prosperous. But at the same token, at the core, at the foundation, there should be peace.
You travel quite a lot all over the countries, and many countries you have visited as well. I understand this is your first visit to Timor.
Yes.
I was at the speech. I was attending your speech as well this morning. How was your? And I understand that you actually read a little bit about Timor and our history. What was your first impression of the people of Timor, and now that you've been here?
Well, yesterday when I was coming into East Timor, we're flying in, and I'm looking at, when we were flying at the distant horizon, I could see the clouds that were over Timor, and it's like, okay, I bet it's right over there. We couldn't see the land yet. We got closer and closer, and I could see the land. And I have been to places, huge cities and pollution and everything else, and then you come in and it's like, wow, this is beautiful. It's very simple, it's very clean, it's very beautiful. But then I started also thinking about, this is really a testament to human endeavor for what they want. And they want it to be free. And even though the odds were not with them, and it was a fight which took over 100,000 lives, but they succeeded. And this is amazing, that people, once they make that determination that they want something, they can make it happen. And so I at once realized that, yes, here are people that I'm about to land in their country who have determination. And they can make anything happen for themselves. And it is so sad that something like that has to happen, where human sacrifice is required. Because we have ability to communicate. I mean, this is one of the human fortes. We don't have to go fighting for everything. That we can talk, that we can negotiate, that we can express what we want. But we rarely use that. Our actions are much more to fight than they are to talk about it. Like, okay, here are people who feel culturally different. They want to preserve their culture. They want to live differently. They want to think differently. So, yes, they should have that. And around the world, the situation with wars is just getting worse. It's not getting any better. So when something like that starts to happen, you really have to look at what is wrong. Why is it that we don't pay attention to each other? Because we're the only ones here on planet Earth. I mean, of course, we share this with all the animals and everything, but so far, speaking in terms of outer space is concerned, and of all the investigation that has been done so far, of what I know, unless somebody has a big top secret, and there is always conspiracy theories, but of what I know, that all around, as far as you can see, on planet Earth, there's this thriving life. And it is one of the most beautiful planets around. It has a sun that's just the right distance. It has a beautiful moon that circles it. It has life, it has ocean, it has water. And it is a beautiful, beautiful planet. To be the custodians of such a beautiful place and be fighting somehow doesn't befit us. That truly a revolution within our thinking has to take place so that we can go to the next step. A step in which we learn, if that's what it takes, learn to live with each other. That we see a difference in somebody and we don't say that that difference is bad, but learn to appreciate that difference. Because that difference allows that beautiful contrast to exist. Otherwise, we would be all like robots. We would all look the same, we would all wear the same clothes, we would all think alike. Everybody would beep their horn exactly at the same time. Everybody would get up at the same time, cough at the same time. You know, it would be a monotonous world. But there are differences that we have. And that provides a beautiful contrast, to love that difference. Not say, no, you should be like me. Because this is what people think. Everybody should be like me. No. That person is like who they are. Learn to appreciate it.
I actually involved in some research around Timor. After the history of the post-conflict that happened in our country, what I realized and what some of the important finding, one of them is that older generation tend to, instead of transfer the information or history and the value of the history to the younger generation, but instead transferring the anger. What would your suggestion or views on that situation in particular?
When we pass the anger, we yell, we scream, and we say how terrible it was. Somehow we have trained ourselves to, when somebody tells us bad things, we go, oh yeah, tell me more. And when somebody says, hey, you know what? You're beautiful people. And they're like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, that's boring, boring. Tell me something juicy. Well, being alive is juicy. The commitment that these people had so that today the young generation could even speak of what they speak of was because this was made possible by that generation that sacrificed itself so that this generation could have the freedom to speak the way they do. It's not just about sacrifices, though. There was a greater reason why they sacrificed themselves. And that was for a better future for this generation. Better future does not come in a kettle, plate, box, or a candy box. Better future is created. It is molded. It is folded. It is learned. And unless all generations, you see, and this is where I differ with a lot of people, it's not just an issue of young generation. If you are alive, you are the generation. It doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, you have something to contribute. You're 70 years old, you have something to contribute. All the way, you're 10 years old, you have something to contribute. You're 5 years old, you have something to be contributing. Even if it is just your cuteness at 5 years, contribute it. Because you make a difference. You bring a smile to a lot of people. And so I really feel that it is not from anger that people should be coming, but from appreciation that people should be coming.
My next question for you, sir, is what is the peace education program?
The peace education program started off basically taking the message of peace to institutions where people were incarcerated, the prisons. Pretty soon it started to have a response that was worth noticing, and a lot of people started looking at the response that the inmates were having to the peace education program. What peace education program covers is not only about peace, but about choice. That you made choices that got you in here, and you can make choices that'll get you out of here and keep you out of here. So this was a very fundamental addressing of issues for a lot of the inmates. One of the universities in Texas, University of San Antonio, Texas, started to take a look at the statistics, and they take a look at statistics all around, for all the different programs that are being executed in the prison systems. And they noticed that the peace education program had the lowest return rate. So when the inmates were released, they went back in the society, it had the lowest return rate of any of the programs at that time. So they became very, very interested on why does this work and what is this all about. Since then, peace education program has really spread. And it has gone to veterans, to police, to military, to retirement homes, to libraries, to hospice, to hospitals, to doctors, and it's just everywhere now. And it really addresses again that issue that at the core of you, there needs to be peace at the center of your world. You know, you could have a person who's very beautiful. They wear makeup, they look more beautiful perhaps. They have the perfect haircut. They have the perfect suit. They have the perfect pants. They're wonderful, but they don't have a backbone. They can't sit, they can't walk, they can't function, because without that backbone, I mean, even though it's not that big in terms of width, but it provides the support for all of this. This is what it fundamentally provides the structure for. And this is what the peace education program tries to focus on. What is your foundation like? You know, we don't see a foundation of a building, only once being constructed. But without that foundation, that building would not exist. And so peace education program really tries to provide that basis of the foundation for people.
Thank you. You also have set up a foundation. Can you tell me a little bit more about foundation and what that foundation actually does?
I have always said that, you know, of course I talk about peace, but I also acknowledge and I understand very clearly you can't eat peace. You know, it won't satisfy your stomach.
Yeah.
You need in your life some very, very basic things. We need clean air. Without air, we wouldn't survive more than 3 minutes. If we're really good, maybe more. Without warmth, not very long. A few hours, and then we would go into hypothermia. Without food or without water, we would not survive for maybe more than 3 days. There's a rule of threes, not maybe more than 3 days. Food, maybe we would not survive for more than 3 weeks. So I talk about peace. I travel different places. But at the same time, I know you can't eat peace. You need food, you need water, you need clean air, you need these essentials. So the point of creating the Prem Rawat Foundation was not only to introduce people towards the subject of peace where necessary, but also to bring them food. Now, I am very passionate about this because I went to this one village in India, Ranchi, and the people were very, very poor. In fact, when I was there, I said, how poor are they? And they said, well, these kids are so poor that they actually steal from the rats. The food that the rats collect for themselves, they actually dig up a hole and get into the rat's nest, and in the middle they build a chamber. And in that chamber they store the food, and the kids actually go steal the food from the rats. I said, how can I help them? And they said, well, build a hospital. I said, but isn't it because of nutrition that they need a hospital? I mean, are there diseases here that just are localized to this area? They said no. So I said, look, let's just start with a food place where people can come and get local food that they're used to. Now, when I started to look around, I knew that there were already a lot of organizations present in that area that were supposed to do that, but they weren't doing it. So we opened up a Food for People facility. Well, it started, and I did not want to get involved in it politically. So I said, look, we will provide the facility, we will provide the raw materials for the food, we will provide the cooks who will cook it, we will distribute it, we will set a standard of, for sanitary standards. But I want the village elders to decide who's going to come and eat at this facility. I'm not going to decide. Well, the village elders got together. They were very happy to make those decisions. It kept it out of politics. It kept it very simple. The children started coming, started getting clean food. And then I started getting reports of what was happening. What was happening? The children were not getting sick anymore. They stopped going to the local hospital. Very little frequency because kids were healthy. Where the lifespan for an average person was around 30s, it started to increase. For the first time, children going to local schools graduated and went on to university. The crime rates plummeted because now people didn't need to steal. When you started to look at the whole picture, everything started to change because we provided them a meal that they enjoyed, they liked, it was nutritious. And I've been there when they have been serving the meal. I mean, little kids, the kids maybe this high, coming with a plate and filling it about this high with rice and dal and different things, and just gorging it down. And I was like, I couldn't eat that much in 2 days. And this kid just finished it in 15 minutes. So the impact that the Food for People had was amazing. So we opened one in Nepal. And just due to the recent earthquake, that facility really came in handy, you know. And then we opened another one in Ghana, Africa. So right now we have 3 operating. Mm-hmm. And in fact, today when I was driving in the car, I said, you know, this would be a place, East Timor might be a wonderful place to see if we can open up a facility for Food for People. That would be something that I have to run by the president of the Prem Rawat Foundation, but it would be, I think, very good to have a Food for People sponsored by the Prem Rawat Foundation, because the impact that it has on society, a lot of times people don't think, well, what is one meal going to do? Mm-hmm. But just that one meal less that the family has to prepare, and the burden of that one meal less, and the and the quality of one good meal makes all the difference. And we see this in Ghana, we see this in Nepal, Dading, where in fact it was quite amazing. I mean, the amount of families that we were able to help, because after the earthquake, their houses were devastated. You know, and that's another strike one for poverty. It's not earthquakes that kill people, it's poverty. Because in the same place that we have our facility, the Prem Rawat Foundation has Food for People facility, the only thing that damage that was done was a small little crack in the bathroom block, because this building was built properly. Whilst the poor people who couldn't afford it, their houses were decimated. But we were able to provide accommodations for up to 250 families and food for numerous other families that could just come, pick up the food, and take it with them. So I really feel that this could be an important element. Because, you know, I mean, yes, it's easy to go and talk about peace. Oh yeah, peace here, peace, 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 peace. But what about the human needs? Yes, peace is also a human need. But so is food. So is dignity, prosperity. And this is what I like to focus on. Because it is not that difficult. It really, I mean, people make a huge thing of it. I mean, people debate about, oh, how are you going to do this? How are you going to feed people? It's really simple. Because land provides the food. You don't have to go to, you know, in a rocket out there to some distant planet 200 million light years away and bring okra back, or bring a pumpkin back, or bring a squash back. It grows right here. You have to take care of the land. Land will take care of you. And it can be such a simple, beautiful thing that the communities can get involved in, taking care of their own, providing a stepping stone. First of all, providing the opportunity for the children to get educated, and providing the communities a stepping stone out of the situation in which they are not thriving, whatever that situation happens to be. And I just, you know, I see people from Timor-Leste, and you just see how beautiful they are. You know, whatever situation they are in, they wear a smile. They wear a smile. They talk to each other. They're friends. They hang out with each other. You know, you look at some cities in the developed world where nobody wants to say even hello to one another. And if they were to, they would be suspicious. What do you want? You know, where people, one guy cuts another guy off and they kill them. They pull out a gun and kill them. This is not what society should be. This is not a reflection that is good reflection of how we can be. So I really feel that it would be just wonderful, you know, and I will talk to the president and see what we can do for Timor-Leste to bring this possibility. Because it's a wonderful model to see. It teaches them cleanliness, because in India they come from wherever they come, and the first thing they have to do is wash their hands. Well, they didn't know that. We taught them. We said, no, the only way you're going to go inside is first wash their hands. And now I am so proud as I stand outside and I just watch them come in. They know their routine. They've taken ownership of the place. They look at me like, what are you doing here? They grab their plate, they get in the line, they know what to do, they get their food, they sit down, they enjoy it, they get up if they want more, get some more. It's their home. They don't feel alienated. And this is not a hand-me-down. You are inferior, we are superior, we're going to give you something. No, 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 no. This has to be done with dignity, it has to be done with respect. And this kind of model can spread around in so many areas.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to ask is about young people of Timor that actually recently exposed to the subject of bullying at school. I have done a research myself on that. What I found is that not many people, young people especially in Timor, exposed to that and let alone understand the long-term impact psychologically on them. Relating it to making choices, what would your suggestion for the young people of Timor?
It is very easy for people to start emulating others, especially when they're young. They get bullied by somebody much older than them, then they start bullying somebody much younger than them. Do you know the amount of bullying that goes around in this world? Look around you. Look around you. There's bullying happening that is normal. This is how it is. And then there is bullying that we don't like in schools and so on and so forth. All of these have implications. I see in India, where I go every year, try to go every year, and I see there's a poor farmer, and he's bullied by somebody who is on a motorcycle. Get out of the way. And he gets out of the way. Down, his head is down. His posture is, oh. The guy in the car bullies the motorcycle. The guy in the bigger car even bullies the guy in the smaller car. You look at the bullying structure, it just goes on and on and on and on, because somehow we have said, yes, this is all about power. You want power. Life is not about power. Life is about making choices that make you feel good and make the person you share this planet with also feel good. Bullying is in fact not power but a weakness. It's a disease that you caught from somewhere, and now it's affecting you, and the disease is affecting younger and smaller and weaker than you. But it is your weakness that you caught the disease. You know, when the immune system gets down, you catch disease. It's very important to have a strong immune system. Well, the same way, your choices have to be good and clear. Bad company will lead you to bad places. And this bullying and all of these things are bad choices that people make.
A lot of your speech motivates a lot of people from different walks of life. What about yourself? Like, what motivates you every day?
Well, I've been doing what I've been doing now for 49 years. I started speaking when I was 4 years old. And what really motivates me is I see a human potential in all of us. And I see that if I am conscious, that if I make an effort in my life, I can make an impact in my life every single day. But I have to make an effort. Look, let me make one thing very clear. People might think, okay, he's got peace and he's all set. No, this is not true. If I want peace in a day, in an hour, in a minute, in a second, I can have it, but I have to work for it. It's possible, but I have to work for it. So peace isn't one of these things, okay, yes, you have entered the country, your passport is stamped, go. No. It's not like once you have peace and then that's it. You're done. You need peace every day. Whenever you become unconscious in your life, you're going to have to suffer the consequences of them. You have to choose peace. Choose peace. You have to choose freedom. You have to choose knowledge. You have to choose these things every step of your life. What motivates me is that this is possible. And if I can help other people also make this possible in their lives, then I feel this is the most noble thing that I can do. I could have been in the military. In fact, I went and I got licenses to fly airplanes. I have quite a few of them. I have about 14,000 hours of flying time. I can fly helicopters, I can fly multi-engine airplanes, I can fly jets, I can fly gliders. But all this, so I can travel, reach people, and make this message that yes, it is possible to have peace in your life. That in fact, the greatest achievement of mankind will be peace. It won't be all the other things we think they will be, because all that will be gone. But peace in the hearts of human beings, bringing the smile, bringing the feeling, a different world, a changed world, if you can imagine it. A world that embraces human beings, not just wealth, but embraces the wealth that a human being brings. Some people I know will fault me for this by saying that's too idyllic. God gave me power to dream. I have a right to dream, and I can dream anything I want. I choose to dream that dream. I can easily choose to dream the dream of where the world is getting destroyed. But that's not the dream I want. That I see as a nightmare, not a dream. And I want to choose the dream in which people live with peace, prosperity, and dignity. This is what I choose.
Thank you. And you also have just had a book published in Japan. Yes. Called Splitting the Arrow. I remember you gave an example this morning in your speech as well. Splitting the Arrow is the understanding the business of life. Can you tell a little bit about this book and what's the message you want to get across?
It's a very simple message. And the message that this book is a very comprehensive book in that it doesn't just deal with the subject of peace. It deals with the subject of peace as it applies to daily existence and what you have to do in your daily obligations. So it really is much more a book that is about the business of life rather than just the life itself or some ideology. And in that book, the story about the arrow is about what we practice the most we get good at. A fundamental thing which sometimes gets overlooked. So if we find ourselves good at something, well, why did we get there? Now, it could be a good thing that we have become good at, or it is a bad thing that we have become good at. A bad habit is because we practice it the most. And consciousness is all about making the choice, choosing what will get you to where you want to go. And so these are the basic, when you talk about this, it's like this is incredibly fundamental. But the problem I see is this fundamental stuff that people call fundamental, people miss it completely. It's not there in people's lives. It's not providing a texture that it needs to provide so that they can have a fuller life. Now you go out there, if I was to be going around the world and saying, you know, let's talk about doomsday. We're all going to die and it's going to be a terrible death. I will be filling stadiums after stadiums after stadiums after stadiums. The Rawat who talks about the doomsday is here. Let's go listen to him. It's juicy stuff. I go talk about peace. This is what I chose. Choose in your life what is important to you. What you think will make you a better person. And act on it. I choose to practice as much as I can and make the effort every day towards peace. And that's what this book is about, is bringing some of the very fundamental core elements that are missing in our society and in our thinking and in our way of doing things. And I think it can provide a very beautiful texture. And it's a very exciting book, and I'm very excited about it.
Thank you very much, sir. Maybe that was our last question. Do you have a message, a brief message to the people of Timor after your visit?
I would like to just wish all the citizens of East Timor my best wishes. And I really, really hope if there is any way I can help them in their journey, that I am allowed to be a part of that. If not, I wish them the best of success, the best of life, the best of country, the best of nation, the best of everything, because I think they've already been through a lot, and the time has come for them to shine.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Prem Rawat, for your precious time. And it's such an honor for me to actually sit here and get a lot of knowledge from you. Malum sira, toba na net itinasoro malum diskusão com a ba dame ba Mauritian ho Sr. Prem Rawat no dar ambassador dame niyan. Dame hen katak ho diskusão idane bele contribui no fo inspiração gruma, motivação ba ita bot sira diliba juventude Timor laran tomak. By the international malum by iha oportunidade dene ia mi hen kata kita international malum fale ho discussão na bem mag interessante liu ho de bele contribui no for motivação na fatim by ita vot sira. Adeus e até logo.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.